While many fads vanish, discover how nostalgic items like Happy Meals, Jelly Belly, Jelly Beans, and even Perrier sparkling water, which all debuted in the 70s and 80s, became unexpected cultural institutions. Remember the crinkle of a Happy Meal box, the fizzy hiss of Perrier, or the sweet surprise of Jelly Belly, Jelly Beans? These weren't just products. They were little snapshots of growing up in the 1970s and 1980s. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe. Today we revisit 10 fads that refused to fade and became lasting cultural icons. Step into a bedroom in the late 1970s and you might find a small plastic kit resting on a vanity table. Inside were glossy pink ovals, press-on nails, each shaped to mimic a perfect almond. The glue had a sharp chemical scent, the kind that filled the room like a high school science lab. For teenagers rushing before prom night or a last-minute date, these nails promised instant glamour, a shortcut to looking polished without the expense of a salon visit. They rarely lasted the whole evening, often popping off during a dance or slipping away into a handbag, but that was part of the charm. The soft click of those plastic nails against a glass, the laughter shared as friends compared designs, and the thrill of transformation all became memories stronger than the glue itself. What many dismissed as a throwaway fad endured through reinvention, from simple pink ovals to elaborate pre-designed styles that cost more than a dinner out. To this day, seeing an old package of press-ons can bring back the heady mix of excitement, impatience, and the sweet illusion of sophistication that defined a fleeting ritual of youth. Walk into a corner drugstore in the late 1970s, and by the checkout counter, you'd spot a small red and white tube cherry chapstick. Twist the dial, and up came a waxy stick tinted like candy, carrying a scent that suggested cherries but landed somewhere between bubble gum and cough syrup. Teenagers slipped it into the pockets of denim jackets or kept it hidden in school bags, not because their lips were dry, but because having one felt like a small badge of belonging. The sensation was unforgettable. The faint shine on your lips, the artificial sweetness that lingered just long enough, the little ritual of reapplying during study hall or while waiting for the bus. What seemed like a gimmick became a companion, a tiny luxury that cost almost nothing, yet meant everything to those who carried it. Decades later, cherry chapstick hasn't disappeared. You can still find tubes rolling at the bottom of glove compartments or tucked away in winter coats, the label faded, but the smell instantly recognizable. It lingers in memory like a soft echo of youth, a waxy reminder of afternoons spent chasing trends and friendships in a world that felt simpler. If you're enjoying this trip, hit like and subscribe for more. Step into a bright drugstore aisle in the late 1970s, and among the shelves you'd notice a splash of color that felt almost playful. Flicker Women's Shaver came in citrus shades, yellow, orange, lime, so light they seem more like toys than razors. For young women, this was something new, a razor designed just for them, a departure from borrowing a brother's heavy steel blade or enduring the harsh buzz of an electric shaver tucked in the hall closet. The memory carries its texture, the soft scrape of the blade, the faint scent of plastic, the glossy handle catching fluorescent light. Flicker wasn't perfect. Its delicate blades often struggled with thicker hair. Yet it marked a shift, making shaving feel less like a chore and more like an expression of style. Though the brand faded, its legacy lives on in the pastel-scented, hyper-feminine razors that line store aisles today. Looking back at these small rituals, press-on nails for instant polish, cherry chapstick for a sugary sense of belonging, and Flicker razors for playful independence, each captured a piece of the 1970s. Which one to you best defines the spirit of that era? Step into a bathroom in the late 1970s, and there it was, a tall green bottle with a wood nymph dancing across the label. Just a twist of the cap released a fragrance so lush it filled the room instantly, wildflowers, patchouli, and a minty note that clung to your hair like a whispered secret. Herbal Essence wasn't just shampoo. It was an experience, a fantasy, sold for a couple of dollars. Back then, most shampoos were purely practical, designed to clean without fanfare. Herbal Essence changed that by weaving magic into a daily routine. It promised purity, nature, even a touch of mystery, making a teenager feel older, freer, and somehow more connected to the wider world. The advertising suggested stepping into a forest every time you washed your hair, and for many it really felt that way. Though reinvented many times, nothing quite compares to that original formula. The image of that green bottle alone can summon the scent, the steam on the mirror, and the sense of stepping out of the shower with hair that carried the fragrance of another world. Picture a group of kids in the late 1970s tearing open shiny foil packets at recess. Inside were tiny neon crystals, pop rocks that looked harmless until they hit your tongue. Suddenly they fizzed, snapped, and popped so loudly that conversation stopped mid-sentence. It wasn't just candy, it was theater, a dare wrapped in sugar. The sensation was unforgettable. Each crackle sparked laughter, wide-eyed surprise, or the playful fear that maybe the rumors were true. On playgrounds everywhere, kids whispered that mixing Pop Rocks with soda could make your stomach explode. The myth itself became part of the experience, half delicious, half dangerous. Many thought it would be a short-lived novelty, but Pop Rocks survived disco, bell-bottoms, and roller rinks. Even now, the candy is sold around the world, its crackle carrying the echo of childhood mischief. The memory lingers not just in taste but in sound, the joyful noise of daring to try something strange and new. Step into an American kitchen in the late 1970s and you might find a green glass bottle of Perrier standing tall on the counter. Twist the metal cap and it opened with a sharp hiss, releasing crisp bubbles that danced on the tongue like champagne without the buzz. For many, it was the first time water felt like a luxury, something to sip slowly rather than gulp. What made Perrier unforgettable was its elegance. Paying for water sounded absurd, almost laughable, yet holding that green bottle signaled sophistication. It was a statement piece, as much as a drink, hinting that you had a worldly taste and maybe even a touch of glamour in your life. Skeptics thought it was a fad that would vanish with disco, but Perrier became the godfather of modern sparkling water, paving the way for LaCroix, San Pellegrino, and countless flavored cans. Its bubbles marked the start of a cultural shift hydration as lifestyle. Looking back at these three, Herbal Essence Shampoo with its enchanted forest scent, Pop Rocks with their explosive fun, and Perrier with its elegant fizz, which do you think left the deepest mark on everyday life? If you're enjoying this trip, hit like and subscribe for more. In the mid-1970s, a tiny white cat with a red bow appeared quietly on a coin purse. She had no mouth, no catchphrase, and no backstory, just a face so simple it invited you to imagine one yourself. Soon, Hello Kitty leapt from purses to pencil cases, lunchboxes, and t-shirts, sneaking into the lives of children across America. What made her remarkable was her silence. She didn't tell you who she was, she let you decide. That blank canvas turned into a mirror for childhood dreams, friendships, and belonging. For many, carrying a Hello Kitty item felt like holding a piece of cuteness from another world, something gentle and endlessly comforting. People thought she would vanish like other novelties of the decade, but instead she grew into a global ambassador of kawaii culture. Today, Hello Kitty appears on fashion lines, cosmetics, even airplanes, still wordless but unmistakable. Just seeing that round face with its simple bow can transport you back to the first time you unzipped a school bag and found her waiting. Step into a neighborhood drugstore in the late 1970s and your eyes would drift to the very bottom row of the makeup display. There, tucked among cracked blush compacts and dusty nail polish, sat Wet n Wild. For just pocket change, teenagers could grab lipstick in colors that defied reason, electric grape, icy tangerine, or glittering swamp green. The magic wasn't in sophistication, but in freedom. The waxy scent of the lipstick, the laughter of friends swiping outrageous shades during sleepovers, the thrill of wearing something bold to school, it all made Wet n Wild a rite of passage. It was the brand for experiments, for rebellion, for daring to see yourself differently, even if only for one night. Most people assumed it was a throwaway brand, something you'd leave behind as you grew older. Yet Wet n Wild endured by staying exactly what it was, cheap, cheerful, and daring. Decades later, it still fills drugstore aisles, proof that boldness outlasts polish. Just catching sight of one of those neon tubes can bring back the sound of giggles and the thrill of trying on a shade you weren't quite brave enough to wear outside. In the late 1970s, Jelly Bean stopped being just Easter candy. Jelly Belly burst onto the scene with flavors that felt more like adventures than sweets. Buttered popcorn, toasted marshmallow, coconut root beer, suddenly each tiny bean was a ticket to surprise. Children and adults alike turned snacking into a game, mixing 2 coconuts with 1 pineapple to make a piña colada, or blending coffee, chocolate, and vanilla for a pretend mocha. The memory is vivid, opening a small bag and catching a whiff of sugar mixed with something strangely real, rolling the glossy beans in your hand and daring yourself to try a flavor you weren't sure you'd like. What started as a novelty soon became a candy revolution. Jelly Belly didn't just survive, it became a staple sold by the pound in candy shops, wedding buffets, and high-end gift boxes. Looking back at Hello Kitty with her quiet cuteness, Wet n Wild with its daring colors, and Jelly Belly with its playful flavors, each brought joy in its own way. Which of these do you think best captured the spirit of playful experimentation in the 1970s? In the late 1970s, McDonald's introduced something that looked simple but felt magical, a small red box with golden arches for handles. Inside was a modest meal, but what children cared about was the toy hidden like treasure at the bottom. Opening a Happy Meal felt less like eating fast food and more like unwrapping a birthday gift on an ordinary afternoon. The experience lived in the senses: the warm scent of fries mixing with the crinkle of paper wrappers, the thrill of peeling back cardboard to see which surprise you'd get this time, and the joy of comparing toys with friends. Parents thought they were buying portion control, but kids knew better. It was the toy that mattered, the prize that made dinner unforgettable. What began as a limited time promotion became a cultural institution shaping entire generations. Even today, adults rush to collect special edition toys, proving that the red box still holds its magic. The Happy Meal turned a simple dinner into a memory and a marketing stunt into tradition. If you're enjoying this trip, hit like and subscribe for more. We've just traveled through a world of fads that were never meant to last, yet somehow became cornerstones of memory and culture. From the simple thrill of Pop Rocks to the timeless comfort of a Happy Meal, these weren't just products, they were experiences that shaped entire generations. It's funny how the smallest things, a scent, a flavor, a toy, and a box can linger long after the moment has passed. Maybe you still keep one of those old collectibles tucked away, or maybe just the memories enough to bring a smile. Which of these fads do you remember most vividly, and which ones are still part of your life today? Your stories keep this journey alive, so drop them in the comments below. And if you'd like more trips back through time, don't forget to like and subscribe, because the past is always waiting to be rediscovered.